and this is Joel Elliott. He is the inspiration for this comedy show. At one time, he was homeless and he was living on the street, and he became like a pet of the comedy scene, and we took him in and we scratched his ears and we gave him a bed and we gave him a home, and he's pretty fucking amazing. So please give it up for Mr. Joel Elliott.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, just a brief announcement before we get started. If you could please pull out your phones. Some of you have them out already, and I don't blame you. You don't know if I'm going to be funny yet. I mean, I don't blame you because I don't even know if I'm going to be funny yet. But yeah, no, pull out your phones, use your technologies and your Twitter applications, and follow me on Twitter. It's at HSV Elliott. Elliott's got 2 L's and 2 T's. Yeah, follow me, I'll follow you, we'll talk. It'll be hilarious, I promise. Yeah, so before we get started, Merry Christmas to you guys. Some of you guys, I won't see you until after the holidays, so Merry Christmas to you. Some of you guys I'm going to see way too much of between now and then. But Merry Christmas to you guys too. It's holiday season, I guess you guys are excited about that. Are you excited for the last month and a half? Like every commercial you've heard on the radio has sleigh bells in it. It gets maddening after a while. And I have to call out Walgreens for being lazy. Walgreens has Creedence Clearwater Revival as their jingle, you know, like down on the corner, partying in the street, Willie and the Pope Boys are playing, bring a nickel, tap your feet, something like that. And then they just plop jingle bells right into it, and they're like, okay, that's our Christmas music. That's done. It's just sleigh bells, CCR, Muzak. That's it. Like, what is next? Is it gonna be like, you know, a Christmas version of like Ozzy Osbourne? You know, like ba-dum, ba-dum, burn kids behaving in their classes. Burn elves are working off their asses. Burn building all those pretty things. Burn Santa laughing spreads his wings. You know, like all, now that baby boomers are aging, like all that edgy revolutionary hard rock, the CCR and the Ozzy Osbourne, the AC/DC, it's also banal and just marketable now. Like AC/DC is advertising their new album on LinkedIn. That's not a joke, that's just a thing. They're putting ads on LinkedIn, you know, like credentials, high earning potential, recommendations, dumb, dirt, cheap. I mean, really, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous how that's going. You guys can't put your phones back away now, right? Stop with the Plants and the Zombies or the Farmville or the Happy Wheels. What is it the kids are doing these days? But yeah, no, you can put those away, especially because you guys should give yourselves a big round of applause for coming out and supporting this charity cause tonight. You know, like it means something like personal to me. You wouldn't believe, I've had the weirdest year. Like you wouldn't believe what's happened. Can I tell you what happened? So, I woke up in Alabama. I mean, like that pretty much sums it up. I'm not from around here, and I didn't know anybody in Huntsville, and I was in like a very bad marriage. And have you guys, any of you read the book Stop Walking on Eggshells? Anybody read that book? Oh, thank God, because if you had cause to read that book, you would know. You would know what happened there, and I would be so sorry for you. But yeah, so I was going under the title. A lot of these people met me as the #1 homeless comedian in Huntsville, Alabama, because it was what it was. You know, I was homeless, and I was doing comedy, and I was #1 because like none of the other comedians had lost their housing yet. You know, like. But I had been in the entertainment industry before, like years ago, and I know how the entertainment industry can be, you know, like, so I liked to warn them when I was actually living on the streets and doing comedy. I was like, guys, you know, keep pursuing your dreams, because eventually you're going to be like right where I'm at, living on the street. Like, we're going to form like a comical tent city and play shows to the raccoons, you know, like that's... Because I want them to be prepared about, you know, what they're going into. But, you know, I had like a life, you know, at one point. I had an apartment on Park Avenue in the city, you know, like up in the Northeast. It wasn't that good of a life, though. This is Park Avenue in Baltimore City. Have you seen The Wire? You know, it's kind of, it's like that. Just to give you a sense, like I woke up one morning and I went down to like, go to the corner store, get some groceries. There was a trail of blood around our block and the next block. And I don't mean like drips. You know, like it was a trail of, like somebody was like running full profusely, like right outside my apartment. That was the neighborhood I grew up in, and so when I saw Huntsville, the first thing I thought when I got to know Huntsville as a city, downtown Huntsville Inc. Hashtag itty bitty city committee. They do a lot of great things. I don't mean to disparage them, but this is such a small town and a close community. It's neat. It's very safe here, But I was paranoid, from growing up in the city. And so, when I first hit the streets, I didn't have much of a plan. I just had a background in entertainment, and so I started hitting open mics during what I thought to be prime bum stabbing hours. 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. This is a place I could be safe, and not be on the streets where weird things happen. And so I went into these bars where weird things were happening. All these people working on comedy and performing comedy, and it was a wonderful thing. But people started responding to the material that I was doing, and really all I was doing was journalizing my homeless experience, I just kept my notebook with me and just crazy things happen out there, and I just kind of described it and shared perspective, okay, for instance, let's clear up some homelessness myths, okay? I hear people say, homeless people are lazy. Every time I see a homeless person, they're just sitting there. That's because you're looking at them where they live. If if a homeless person came and checked on you at random intervals throughout the week, they would see you just sitting there on your couch half the time. And they'd be like, why is this person so lazy? But no, homelessness is really hard work. They're sitting there because they're tired. It's like a full-time job, just, getting by when you're homeless. Myth number 2, that, homeless people don't have things. Okay, some of these people, they met me as, their homeless friend, and sometimes I'd pull out my phone, I'd get on the Facebook, and they're like, oh, you have a phone. Oh, that's not, I didn't know you would have a phone. It's homeless people, they're not Amish, they're poor, It's 2014, phones are cheap, the homeless people do have phones. All my homeless friends have phones, it's true. Some of them have smartphones, some of them have laptops. We're living in the future, it's crazy. But okay, the third myth is that homeless people are depressed. Yeah, it's a very depressing situation, and yes, there is some correlation, if not causation, in, of mental illness and chronic homelessness. But they are, no offense to any of the comedians that have done stuff here tonight and do things in the scene, but my homeless friends are the funniest people I know. I'm sorry, they're so much funnier than you guys. Some people have said to me before, oh, you were so much funnier when you were homeless. It's true. When you lose the trappings of society, you lose your filter and it gets crazy. But since I had that mix, when I was networking in Huntsville, I was networking both in the homelessness scene and the comedy scene, and so I had this 50-50 spread of homeless friends and what do you call them? Indoorsy types, people that lived indoors were my other group of friends, and when I was with my indoorsy friends, I always felt they felt like they couldn't complain about their lives, because it's but this is my homeless dude friend over there, he's going through all this stuff, I was afraid they felt they had to edit themselves, they wanted to tell me, oh, I went to sleep, taking a nap, and I woke up from the nap and there was a spider on me and it was gross, I was afraid that they feared I would come back with I was taking a nap and I woke up and there was this rat sitting on my chest. And he just made eye contact with me. And we locked eyes for 3 seconds. And then he opened his mouth. And he said, what's in the backpack, man? I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't just lay the homeless card on my friends like that. Though that did happen. That is not a fake story. I woke up. It was a rat. He was squared to me, locked eyes for a few seconds. He didn't actually say what's in the backpack, man, but I know he was thinking it, So I laid the homeless card on one person because I got a call from a telemarketer, all right? And when you're homeless and you have no prospect, I had my backpack stolen first week out, so it's now I'm homeless with no ID, I was just strung out to dry. Got a phone call, I was oh, hopefully this is an under the table job or something, and I was hope for life, hello. And the woman on the line said, I'm calling from Direct Buy, and I said, oh, okay. And she said, well, are you driving right now? And I said, no, I'm on a bike, because I'm a homeless man. And immediately she started blubbering. She was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. and she's working off a script, so she's flipping through pages, and she's like, I've got nothing in here for accidentally called a homeless dude. And so I find myself in a position, I feel bad now, and I'm like consoling her. No, it's okay, it's okay, I'm getting by, I'm making the most of it, and I'm happy because happiness is a choice, and it was just crazy, blubbery conversation, and she then just mutters a few things, and then hangs up. If you learn nothing from tonight, if you accidentally call a homeless person, say goodbye. Don't just, it's lonely out there, so she hangs up on me and I'm just like, oh, okay, we're back to survival now. It's not a good experience. But okay, people have said that comedy saved Joel Elliott from homelessness, and that's just not true. If anything, pursuing comedy is going to get me closer to being homeless again. But what saved me from homelessness was comedians. The comedians in the Huntsville comedy scene are the most caring group that I've ever met. The community of Huntsville, Alabama, very caring. Go to hsvcomedy.com, look for other shows, come out and see the comedy in the scene. Go to Twitter, follow me on at HSV Elliott. Elliott's got 2 L's and 2 T's. Or if you like snail mail, just go ahead and send me an email at stuckinhuntsville@gmail.com. Yeah, I own that. I own the crap out of that. But yeah, so I've grown very fond of this city. It's not a bad city to be stuck in. If somebody asked me, let's say hypothetically I was planning to have my life destroyed completely by a clinical narcissist, where would you suggest I do that? I would say Huntsville, Alabama. It's a beautiful, beautiful city. Huntsville, just because I can't leave you doesn't mean I don't love you.